Do I have balloons in the background?
How did you even do that?
Oh
my goodness.
It says background effects in the
there's a Minecraft one. Oh my goodness.
Oh wait, you can add pictures from your own laptop. Do I have a panda anywhere? I saw one where it turned a girl into a potato.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm taking this off now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Radical Roomies podcast. We are so excited to have this podcast today. And first of all, I'd like to have a moment of honesty because Maggie and I are actually apart right now because we're on winter break. So we're doing this over Teams. And which kind of stinks because the whole point of our podcast is supposed to be our roomie conversations, and we've literally been apart. We're not even actually in our dorm room right now. But so that's also why it has taken us a little bit to get going with this episode, but hopefully we'll get back on track, and it'll actually be kind of cool because we haven't had an opportunity to talk to each other about what we're going to talk about today, so it'll be very raw, real conversation. So I'm actually pretty excited about that part of it. But
super exciting.
So a lot of news has been coming out about the COVID-19 vaccine. And we got a lot to talk about today, guys. So Maggie, would you like to start out on your thoughts? The first person in the U.S. got it yesterday, I believe. Boy. So.
Wow. Let's see. I have even myself, I have so many different opinions about it. As a history major, I've looked at vaccines of the past, with polio and, of course I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. But with this scenario, history is actually on our side, looking at vaccinations, and in the past they have been very successful. So that kind of gives me hope about it, and it's almost like a light at the end of the tunnel, I think, because at least now we have hopefully a form of preventative measures for the disease.
Yeah. I
know there's a lot of speculation though about it because it was developed so rapidly.
Right.
And I think that people are thinking that was maybe for political advantage or, to make a certain side look better. We developed it super fast, or, we're going to go against this because you developed it.
Yeah.
However, I don't want to just make those judgments because I don't know about anything about science. So
right.
Who am I to say there's no way they could have developed it that fast, because I have no idea what it takes to formulate something like that. And also, technology as a whole has advanced so rapidly in the past 10 years alone, 15 years alone. So why is this any different than that?
Right.
We've seen smartphones and Bluetooth, all of these things. We've had Bluetooth, but it's grown crazily over the past few years. So why is this necessarily different? But then again, I would not want to be the first person to get it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what it's going to look like. There's been polls, I saw just a few days ago that 62% of Americans would actually take it. And I feel so many people oh, this is a deadly, horrible virus, but they're terrified of taking a step forward. And so, I don't know. I think I will get it just because I want to be able to get a cold and not have to worry about endangering my loved ones. Or I want to be able to, if I get a little case of the sniffles, I want to be able to go to work still or go to class and not have to live at home for 2 weeks and not leave. I want to move past this. So
Right.
that's me personally, but even my family members some of them are a little skeptical and probably won't get it for a while. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I actually had a feeling that we probably disagree about this a little bit. So this is the heated roomie conversations. Just kidding.
Oh boy.
No, I definitely respect your opinion, and I agree with like most of what you said. I also don't think it would be right to just automatically assume like, oh, they developed this so fast. Like, how could they possibly have done that? Like, we don't know really like what has gone into it and everything like that. So who are we to judge that would be the reason? Although I am slightly skeptical of the fact that they have developed it so fast. And obviously, though, there's a variety of factors that go into that, including like a lot of government things that would normally like slow down the different vaccinations have been like sped through quicker. I was kind of talking about that with my brother. So I kind of don't want to swing one way or the other on that because I think there's a little bit of truth to both sides. The only thing is we already are seeing people who have gotten it getting some really crazy side effects. And so I don't know if you've already heard, there's been people who are having like facial paralysis. I think at least like 3 people have already developed that after they got the vaccination. Again, I don't know all the details to the information.
Yeah.
Everyone do your own research. I haven't fully researched it, but I did read about that a little bit. And I mean, obviously like barely anyone's already got it, and we've already seen this. There's also some evidence that may suggest, we're going to learn more about these kinds of things, but may suggest that it could cause infertility in women. And like, of course, we're going to learn more about that, but like, that's kind of like, that really scares me. Like, could you imagine getting a vaccine for a virus that, you don't believe would kill you maybe, or maybe you do, but, and then for the rest of your life, possibly not be able to have kids, like affects your whole life like that. So like, that's, with all that said, that's why I think that it would be wrong for the government or anyone to mandate this, because, those are real factors that should influence someone's choice in whether they do get the vaccine or not. If they're going to release it, like, great, there's people out there who would probably love to be the first, few people to get it and try that out. But I really don't think it would be right to mandate it at all. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely would not want a government mandate.
Yeah.
I honestly I should have done more research on these side effects. I have not done that much.
Yeah,
I looked it up
too.
Yeah, I looked it up, but I only went to like the first Google result, of course, because it was just a quick Google
and
search.
We know
and
how
it just
Google
said,
filters their
results.
Yeah.
Oh, please, yes. And I looked it up and I saw like the only side effects were like injection site pain for a few hours. Like, when you get a shot, it hurts for a little bit. That's all I had really, and like a headache maybe. So of course I'm like, but after hearing infertility and face paralysis, like that's freaky. But again, I want to research that more. Like, did that person have an allergic reaction, or like did they have a certain thing, a condition that made them react that way, whereas someone maybe like me who doesn't really have any underlying things, like, would it affect me that way? I don't know. And it all takes research.
No, exactly.
So which is what I'm gonna do. But
doing
a government mandate is freaky. I just think, I don't want the government telling me to do anything. I don't like, it's scary that they have, to me, I think it's scary that they have even mandated masks.
Right.
Where I work at this hardware store in northern Indiana, in this county, they have set a mandate that if you're not wearing a mask and we come in and we see that your store is not enforcing it, we can shut you guys down. Like make you close your doors. Now, that's not really a hands-off government system.
No, yeah, exactly.
And so that's just in the business sector. So on a personal level, that's scary. Like, what if they all of a sudden start mandating, oh, you have to take this pill every day so that we can... I don't even know. I can't even think of an example. It's
like,
just,
how
I don't
far
want
is
the
that
government
gonna go? Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really crazy. And like how they've been, some governments have been so strict to like restrict how many people you can have in your own home. Like that's, I mean, that is like absolutely ridiculous to me. And so, I was going to say, obviously we have promised on this podcast that we're going to talk about everything through a biblical worldview. Obviously, some of this is just our opinion and just the way each of us individually like sees things. But, I think for our audience here, try to explain a little bit, you know, why, as Christians, we believe the government shouldn't be, you know, using this overreach or whatever you want to call it, because we believe that the government is established to protect us from evil people, and that God has established government for that to be the primary purpose. You can read about in Romans 14, I believe it is. Might not be exactly right about that, but
I know it's in Romans.
It is in Romans. That is true. But so it doesn't say, you know, God has established a government to give us healthcare, to give us, you know, all these different things, you know. That is not God's purpose and establishment of government. So that's why we get so bothered when we hear about like these things that the government is mandating. I mean, we can talk all day about what we believe about healthcare or like, you know, whatever. I don't know why that's the only example I can think of, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's starting to get so extreme. It's like, this is not right. Like, even if you just want to talk about like freedom and stuff like that, but this biblically, that's why we believe that. Yeah. So that's why I think it would just be not good at all if the government decided to mandate it. I was also going to say, while we're on this topic, obviously we all know that I love Candace Owens. She's like my actual hero. But I was just watching her live, and I'm so proud of her because like lately she's been standing up for some things that like I've never heard anyone like talk about. And like she's so like brave, and like I love to listen to her. But so she's been talking about this vaccine thing and how like it's been an issue for a while, that there's been people like the anti-vax moms, like they all get labeled. There have been these people for a while that have been coming out saying like, this happened to my kid, you know, after, you know, they got a vaccine, or like I've seen this and everything, and they all get like shut down and just labeled as like kooks. And everyone's just supposed to assume that vaccines are safe and like there's no risk, and like your doctor never talks to you about like, so this is the vaccine, well, here's the risk, like now you get to choose. Like they always just present it as, you know, it's completely safe, when there's real people out there with real stories. And so it was really cool. If you guys haven't listened to Candace talk about this, go try to find it, because she talks about how her experience having a reaction to a vaccine and how like it's real and that happens. And it's like, how come we never get this choice to like hear the other side, like, well, here's the side effects, but here's the benefit, and have our own freedom to kind of like assess that for ourselves. So I think that definitely goes with the COVID vaccine. Like, everyone should definitely get to have their own ability to assess the risk and the benefit. And I have been saying for months, I mean, probably since like August or September, that I had a feeling we're going to be required to have the vaccine to go back to school once it goes out. And so like for a while, I didn't really take a strong stance on whether I would get it or not, because I was so afraid of that. And now the closer we're getting, like I really like see that coming.
Oh, yeah.
So we can talk about that a little bit more, but you know that regardless of if it's mandated or required for school or required for this or that, like there's going to be certain like areas and businesses and stuff that are going to at least act that way, and like, or people that will act that way, and like it's like going to be really interesting to see, I think, kind of where it goes.
Yeah. And well, you said one thing when we were talking about Romans, just with government philosophy, it reminded me of the founders' original intents with the United States.
Yes.
There was so much like discussion on if America actually had a Christian founding.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of debate. Personally, I think it did. The heavy influence that Christianity had on the founders, I think, overarches whether it had a Christian founding altogether. Yeah. Anyways, I'm kind of going on a rabbit trail, but
no, yeah, I enjoy the history lesson because Maggie knows way more about these things than I do. So yeah.
But yeah, like we have this philosophy, John Locke's philosophy, life, liberty, and property, and then later taken by Jefferson, pursuit of happiness.
Yes, fun fact for anyone who doesn't know that.
Yeah. So I believe that is what government in America has been founded upon, are these, unalienable rights is what they're known as. Nobody can take these things away from you, and the government is there to protect that. So the government's there to make sure that nobody's encroaching upon your life, your liberties, or your property, which then would turn into pursuit of happiness, meaning you can do whatever you want to make yourself happy.
Now it seems like it's like the opposite of that.
Exactly. And that's, why I'm so against the mandate, because I don't want to give any inch of the government allowing them to further encroach upon my life than they already have, and it can go with that with anything, taxes.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like censorship. So that's just another thing with the mandate. It's like, you're taking away my personal liberty. And like, again, if Candace Owens, she had allergic reaction to vaccines, if I remember what she said correctly, but, they're taking that liberty away of choosing whether you want whatever happened to my body, my choice,
Yeah, oh my gosh.
You want me to wear a mask? Okay, well, my body, my choice. No.
That is so much.
I'll respect my authority because the Bible also talks on that, so if someone's asking me to wear one, I want to be respectful. It's not necessarily harming me except giving me mask-knee. But it's...
oh, yes, the mask-knee is real.
Man, that's probably the worst thing in Corona. No. But it's, it's just that thing, like, how much power are we really going to give the government? And so I just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, like you said, allergic reactions. I don't want to label these small groups of people who have had bad reactions with vaccinations as the anti-vaxxers, or whatever. They get so much hate. And, Candace Owens has her own personal story. And while I choose maybe do differently, I don't want to label her as a psycho because of what she experienced. Or weirdo, or she's killing her children. I know that there's been, like, jokes about that. Like, if you don't vaccinate your children, you're killing them. No.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. No.
And so it's just, this whole... People will turn any current issue into something of controversy, I feel like. Vaccines don't have to be controversial, but it's like people are so bored while they're in quarantine that they just want to fight about things. And, like, it's sad because, like, even on something like this where it's not super political, it's becoming super controversial, and it doesn't need to be that hateful, just let people be.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, why can't we just all make our own decisions? Like, why does it have to be an issue of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, morality, like, evil, right or wrong. Yeah. Like, why can't, like, we just be free to make our own ethical? Exactly, yes, that's a good word.
Yeah.
No, and yeah, I don't think that it would be right to take one extreme or the other on, like, the anti-vax thing. Like, I don't think it would be right to say, like, oh, every single vaccination has always been horrible. Because, like you said, we can look back in history and see, like, wow, like, once they had vaccinations, like, this all like went down, or like it saved people
Yeah.
from getting the super like deadly disease or whatever. But I also don't think it's right to be completely pro-vax, where you're saying like, oh, every kid and every person needs to get every single one of these shots, like regardless, because like there may be a point where for a certain person a vaccination might be more of a risk than getting whatever it's being vaccinated against. Like that,
Exactly.
that's real, and
Like
it's frustrating. Yeah, it's frustrating that there are people who just completely dismiss that, and I don't really understand like why that is.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's like people are so worried about what everybody else is doing, and like, why don't you just worry about yourself? You know, because you're ultimately going to be, if you get it and you think that a vaccine is the right thing, then you should be safe, right? So why are you so worried about everybody else following that? Like, just take care of yourself.
It's so revealing of the control and the mindset that, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to do the same thing. The Marxism, I mean, it's showing.
Oh my God.
And we could totally get into that. We should do a whole episode just on that. But now we're talking about the corona vaccination.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, me personally, obviously, I'm allowed to change my mind at any point. But I've reached the point where like I would confidently say that I'm not getting the vaccine, not right now, because I mean, we just don't know. How horrible would it be if like I just decided to get it because I still want to go to school, or whatever the reason I decide in my mind, and then a bunch of stuff comes out, maybe about the infertility or the facial palsy or like whatever it might be. Like, can you imagine, like, I can't have kids for the rest of my life because I just decided to get this so I could go to school? It's like, I would regret that so much. And so I just don't think that, me personally, like, making my own decision, I don't think that the potential cost outweighs the benefit. And if that literally means that I don't get to go back to school, then I'm fine with that. Like, they should leave an online option. Like, they better. If they really do require it, then they better give me an online option, because that's what I would go for. And it stinks, and it's, like, crazy to me that I'm even saying that, because I love being at school. I love Liberty University, and my friends are there. Like, I love being there. But it's, like, honestly, we've lost so much of our campus life already from all these restrictions and stuff. Yeah. It's like I've already had to kind of grieve that like whole over an entire semester that I feel like I've lost of my like college life. Yeah. And it's like, what am I really like missing out on anymore? And so, like I said, I'm allowed to change my mind if I ever decide to, but right now, no way I'm letting that shot go in me. I do not trust it enough yet. I'm obviously not, I don't care about getting corona, like, and I know the whole thing is like, oh, like, you get it so that you don't spread it to other people or whatever, but, how do they even know that because I got the vaccine that I'm not going to be able to? That's not always how it works. Like, I could still touch something and then touch something else and spread it to someone else. It's like, so since I'm not worried, that's never how we've, like, you know what I'm saying? Sorry.
It's that way with any sickness.
It's like, it's just crazy how we just treat this so differently. But anyways, it's like, I don't care about getting it myself. And so that's what I would like to be my personal choice. And I'm going to be really frustrated if Liberty mandates it, or especially if the government mandates it. But, I think it's going to be really interesting times, and there's probably going to be places that I can't go. And you know what? I'm just going to be okay with that. And
yeah, it's scary. What if that affects internships or jobs that people are able to get, or going on vacations? Like, it's just,
I know the travel, oh my gosh.
Like, going on an airplane. Are we going to be able to go on airplanes? I don't like that. But, see, that's just why I need to research it more.
I agree.
I don't want to... See, for my mom who's older and has some underlying things, I totally understand her wanting it. And for me, you know.
Yeah, for those people, they should be totally allowed to, like, make that choice for themselves.
Yeah, the old people
but how
in the
come
nursing
all
home.
of us, you know, under, I don't know, I don't remember the exact status, but, like, people under a certain age, like, our chances of dying from this is so minuscule. Like, you are so much more likely to die our age of so many other things, especially, like, car accidents. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, why are we, if we're really gonna have this mindset, why don't we get rid of cars? Because you know how many people die in car accidents every year? Like, it's just,
people
there's
who
no
slip
logic
in their
to
shower and hit their head. Are we not going to have showers anymore? Like, how far do you take it?
I know.
And, like, a good friend of mine had to uninvite over 200 people from her wedding.
Oh, it's just
because
so sad.
just the week before, our government changed its restrictions. And, I mean, that's a day that every girl dreams of.
I know. I can't imagine being a bride during this time. That would just be so heartbreaking. But it's like...
And she had it all planned, and then just, it's over. Like that. It's just... These are big life things that people are missing out on. Dads can't go to their wives' ultrasounds to see their baby. Gosh. Or you can't say goodbye to your grandparent who's passing away.
It's absolutely inhumane because, like, literally, I was having dinner with my family earlier tonight, and a man in our church who's actually an elder in our church, and his family, all of his family is, like, very involved. We've known them for a while and stuff like that. He's very old and has been, you know, having some health issues and Alzheimer's and, like, those sort of things. In the past year, he's really, you know, taken a turn for the worse, and it's sad because he's been really lonely. He was really isolated, and his family wasn't able to see him for, like, a huge chunk of the year. And more recently, you know, they've been getting to see him a little bit, and I actually saw him at church a couple weeks ago. But he died today, and there was no one with him. And, like, I was like, are you kidding me? There was no one with him when he died. And it's like, what is this? Like, oh my gosh. Like, I could just go on and on about that. At what cost? Like, I seriously think that most people would rather have the risk of dying from corona and be able to be with their family, like, when they're dying, than be isolated by themselves. I was listening to, oh my gosh, now I can't even remember. I think it was Candace Owens interviewing someone. It might have been Allie Stuckey. I can't remember. But that doctor that everyone, you know, thought was a huge kook for using hydroxychloroquine and everything. She was saying that she was treating some patients, and there was the only patients she said that she's had die in her care were the ones where she begged them to go to the hospital because they needed a ventilator and they needed all this different stuff. Of course, with patients with corona. And the only ones she's had die are the ones that refused to go to the hospital because they said they'd rather die and be able to be with their family than go to the hospital and be by themselves and possibly die by themselves. And I feel like I would definitely be the same way. Like, I'd so much rather be able to be with my family. And think about all the grandparents who, like, you know, didn't see their family this year for Thanksgiving and won't see their family for Christmas. And then what if they get sick with something else or whatever it is and die by next year and they didn't get to see their family? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just never know what's going to happen. And it's like, we've never lived like this. We've never lived with this sort of, like,
it's foreign.
Fear and, like, sacrifice, all these different things, especially over a virus with, like, what is it, 99% survival rate or whatever. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, man, getting me heated here, but.
No, yeah. I saw this meme, and it said Christians when Nero was, you know, emperor or whatever, and they're like, I will die and become a martyr to go to church. And then it's like Christians today, there's a virus that that has a 99% survival rate. I'll hide in my house.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you think about, like, there's people in China and, like, communist countries and different places who, like, they literally do risk their lives, and, like, they risk everything to meet together for church. And yeah, we're gonna say, oh, well, we're trying to be safe, we're trying to, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah. It's really sad, and people are like, you could die, live every day to the fullest. I can't do that if I'm alone in my house. Like, it's sad. And again, it goes back to what I said, like, just let people make their own decisions, you know, let them know their own risk and do what they want. Like, I don't need some politician who's making millions of dollars telling me, oh, you need to stay at home.
Yeah. Like, and not to mention the hypocrisy that's been going on,
Oh, please.
It's so revealing of just the agenda. And again, I feel like we could have a whole podcast on just this. And today we're talking about vaccines, but it's just, it's not about what they say it's about. It's not about protecting you. It's not about your best interests. It's about power and control. And
I mean, they got the mail-in votes to work. What else do they want?
Yep. Oh, we could have a whole podcast about voter fraud too. Man, don't even get me started. We have so much to talk about. I am so excited, but
yeah,
I stand by what I'm saying. I'm not going to get the vaccine, and I don't know what Maggie's going to do, because she's going to
research.
She's going to research, and you know what? I think that's a good decision, and I should probably research more too. But I mean, I challenge everyone who's listening to just think for yourself. Do your own research. If it is the best thing for you to get this vaccine, even if you've assessed the risks, do it. But I challenge people to not get it. I challenge you to stand up against this, against the pressure. Don't just cave because of however strong the pressure gets, because it's gonna get strong. And like I said, I might change my opinion, but right now I'm pretty strong in it. I'm not even going to get close to it.
Yeah. I also am looking forward to seeing how, once it's starting to be given in mass numbers, see what comes out from it.
Right.
And that, I've got time to look at that. So
yeah, exactly. There's no reason to rush into it, but yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It means a lot to us. And please follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, Parler, and give us a rating, too. That helps us out a lot. Give us a rating and a review.
Yeah.
And we are really thankful for everyone who's listened to this.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.